Attention, please. Here's something I bet you didn't know. Not all supplements are created equal. At HealthSpan, our omega-3 oil is sustainably sourced from the South Pacific Ocean. We find our turmeric in the southern slopes of India. And our cod liver oil comes from the cold, crisp seas off Greenland. We work hard to seek out the best ingredients for our supplements, because that's the HealthSpan way. We're healthspan.co.uk. Vitamins and supplements in-store or direct to your door.
Right now, it's more vital than ever that we keep in touch. So at Labara, we're offering a great value SIM-only deal. 1,000 texts and 1,000 minutes to the UK. 100 extra minutes to 40 other countries, plus 2 gigs of data. All for just £5. No contract. You can change at any time. Not that you'd want to. Labara. Stay connected.
Tier Vinzo. Battleborn.
Whatever your day holds, you need a breakfast that helps you get up and go. Up.
And go, go, go.
Up. And go. A delicious breakfast shake made with oats and milk. High in fibre, high in protein, high in calcium. Start right with Up and Go. The official breakfast partner of British Swimming. Find us in the cereal aisle.
And welcome to this fantastic swimming pool. What a complex it is, the London Olympic Aquatic Centre. I wonder if it's officially the London Olympic Aquatic Centre. It should be if it's not.
The London Aquatic Centre.
No, I like the word Olympic, because it is. This is Michael Phelps's pool. Jazz Carling, double Olympic silver medalist. I keep saying that. What else did you win? Tell me. Come on. I haven't done my homework properly. Come on then. Give me the full list.
Games gold, 4-time European champion.
4 times?
Yeah.
Well, you missed the 5th.
The cheek.
4
I feel like as
times.
the days are getting on, I'm getting a bit more cheekiness.
That's fantastic. 4 times. I'm gonna come back to that in a second because I've interrupted you halfway through. What a great morning we have. This is day 4 of 5 at this British swimming selection trials for the Tokyo Olympics. First off, the women's 100 metres freestyle. Can't wait to see some of these sprinters have waited all the meet so far. Anna Hopkin in the second, in the third heat. Men's 50 freestyle also. Ben Proud goes in that. Utterly brilliant sprinter. And then the women's 200 backstroke. Well, after the fireworks of the 100 of Dawson and Wilde, who knows what's going to happen there. Men's 100 fly. expect to see a qualification standard, at least one, maybe two or three in that. And then the women's 200 medley. Well, I've got to say tonight, I can't believe that we might be pushing the British record. Abby Wood's 200 breaststroke was stunning. Well, the technical officials being introduced. Craig Hunter there in the centre. Tom Basta. And then the starter, Jerry Metcalf. We'll now be joining everybody here at the London Aquatic Centre, paying our respects to His Royal Highness Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, with a minute's silence.
The service, which will commence at 3 p.m. this afternoon, will celebrate the Duke of Edinburgh's unwavering loyalty to the Queen, service to the nation, and courage displayed across a life where he achieved so much. Known for his charity work, Prince Philip was a founding member of the World Wildlife Fund and served in the Royal Navy in the Second World War. His greatest legacy being the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme, which has impacted the lives of over 10 million people across the world. The thoughts of everyone at British Swimming go out to Prince Philip's wife, Her Majesty the Queen, and the royal family at this extremely sad time. We therefore ask you all to rise and join us in a minute's silence as a mark of respect.
Minute's silence respecting His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. Well, the pool now ready for the heats on this day 4 of 5 of the British Swimming Selection Trials for the Tokyo Olympics. And we've had some great fun so far. I'm delighted to be joined for these heats again by Jazz Carlin. Jazz, I interrupted you very rudely. It's becoming a theme, which I do apologise for, but I keep on introducing you as double Olympic silver medalist, and you were just telling me what else you've done, because I haven't done my homework. So you said 4 European Championship titles.
Yep.
Commonwealth gold.
Yep.
Just the one?
Just the one gold.
Oh, well done.
A few silvers and bronze too.
A few?
I can't remember the exact amount.
No, don't tell me that. Really?
Well, I would if I thought about it, but right now the numbers aren't coming to the top of my head.
Seriously? I know mine.
Do you?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's not very many. But you've only got a couple. It's easy, isn't it? 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronzes. There we go.
Oh.
It's all right, isn't it?
Well, I was amazed. Someone replied on Twitter and said I'd done 81 800s in my career.
You know, I guessed...
Someone went and counted.
I guessed 30, didn't I?
I know. You played it down. 81 800s. 81 times 16 lengths of the pool. Or maybe they'd have been short course too, I'm not sure. He didn't state whether they were long course or short course.
Come on, if you're going to tweet the great Jazz Carlin about how many...
I was impressed he went and counted.
He didn't split it by short... He didn't say 37 and 23?
No. They could... I'm not sure.
That'd be 60. How many did he say? 80?
81.
That's probably why it went 37 and 23.
It was making me a bit on edge that it was 81. It was an odd number. I might have to do another one just to get to 82.
I think you should. Anyway, first of 3 heats of the women's 100 metres freestyle. Harriet Rogers in lane 3 for Darlington. Lucy Hope, Edinburgh University in 4. Looking forward to seeing her swim here. And Evelyn Davis of Bromley in 5. And Lucy from Edinburgh University. What a university they've got there. I think their swim squad amalgamates all the university members in the city. I think there's 3 of them. There's Harriet Watt. Edinburgh is another one as well. I'll check on that in a second. First heat women's 100 free. Let's just watch for the Scottish record here. Lucy Hope in 4. So 2 lengths of the pool, 100 metres freestyle. The British record held by Fran Halsall at 52.87. What a fantastic swim that was back in Rome in 2009, 12 years ago. And the Scottish record currently held by Caitlin McClatchy, 54.3. But Lucy Hope has been rattling that recently.
She looked great on the 200 metres freestyle earlier in the week. And I think she'll be heading into this swim feeling really confident and wanting to have a bit of a hit out this morning. She knows there's 2 more heats to come. She's really driving off those walls, splitting in 26.37 for that first 50.
Well, she looks good. Going with for those, Harriet Rogers of Darlington up in 3. And it'll be really interesting to see what sort of time she sets here. She swam a couple of 54s in the time trial meets in Manchester. So she's swimming really well. I wonder if she's going to try and go 54 low, something like that, maybe even 53 high. This is a great swim. 54.31's the Scottish record. Ooh, 0.2 of a second outside it. 21/100ths outside of Caitlin McClatchy's Scottish record. A new lifetime best for her as well. Thank you, Jazz, for pointing that one out. I had missed that one. Great swim, eh?
I know that you can't really ask for any more in the heats in the morning. Coming away with the best time. She's going to get close to that Scottish record tonight, I think, from Caitlin in 54.31. But she's looking in great form, and I think that's what you want to see. Coming in with the 200 free, you want to be feeling good, feeling confident, and get one of those centre lanes tonight. She knows that we've got Freya Anderson, we've got Anna Hopkin coming up, so she'll be wanting to get in those centre lanes next to those.
Well, that will certainly give her a centre lane in the final tonight. 54.5, a very good heat swim. Lucy Hope winning it, Evelyn Davis second, Harriet Rogers third. And the next heat, Freya Anderson won the 200 metres freestyle in the consideration time. World junior champion on this 100 metres freestyle. Next to her will be Tamron Van Selm in 5 and Tane Bruce in 3. And then Georgia Davis. Georgia Davis, teammate of yours?
Yeah, I've been on a lot of teams with Georgia. She's a very experienced athlete. I think for her, the 100 metres freestyle is a bit of a bonus event. It's one that she clearly enjoys, and I guess it just adds to her programme of the week. We did see her get the consideration time in the 100 metres backstroke, but she came third. So the top 2 were Kathleen Dawson and Cassie Wilde. So she was just off that, but it'll be nice to see her in the 100 metres freestyle today.
Well, it certainly will be interesting to see how she goes in lane 6. Next to her, Tamron Van Selm of Millfield was 5th on the 200 metres freestyle, just ducking under the 2 minutes. Good swim from her, very good swim. To Freya Anderson, well, swam well, and I should probably say it probably wasn't quite as fast on that first race on that 200 metres freestyle for either her in winning it or Abby Wood in second place. Maybe not as fast as either would have liked to have gone, but as the meter's gone on, everyone seems to be getting quick. What do you think a feeling would have been after the 200 free?
I think sometimes that first day, it's those first swims under your belt, and always, I guess, a bit of nerves and wanting to get that consideration time. So sometimes the tactics in the race are to play it out is to maybe be a bit more cautious, whereas I know both of them would have liked to have gone a bit quicker. Talking to Abby, I know she wanted a bit quicker in that 200 metres freestyle, and Freya. But they seem to have really built into the meet. So it'll be interesting to see what Freya can do this morning. She's a very tall girl. She's got a lot of speed, a lot of power. So it'll be really interesting to see. We have traditionally seen her at Ellesmere with Alan Bircher, a very successful age group swimmer, and we've seen her move now to the Bath National Centre to work with David McNulty, and it seems to really be working for her. We saw some great swims at the International Swimming League last year, and she really seems to be making her mark on the senior ranks now.
Well, she certainly does. And you say she's tall. She's actually 6'3". And I have to say, if you could choose a stature for a female sprint freestyler, it is hers. I mean, it's just wonderful. Really tall, really powerful. She's got great walls as well for a tall person. There she is in the centre with those shiny blue goggles on. But a real hope for the future, but the near future as well as the far. She's still very young, but brilliant. And I had a chat with Dave McNulty. Was he your coach, Dave McNulty?
Yep, Dave was my coach too.
I had about an hour with him the other day, and I felt like I could go and move mountains at the end of it. What a wonderful bloke.
He's very inspirational. He's a great coach and great leader with me heading into Rio. Sorry, and I know with the group that he has here, we've got the likes of Tom Dean, James Guy, Freya, Holly Hibbett. So they've got a really strong group of swimmers. And again, he'll be wanting to see a nice quick swim this morning. I know he loves working with Freya. I think she's a great athlete to work with. So he seems to be really enjoying the group that he has currently.
Well, if you ever get a chance to chat to him about swimming, have a go, because I took the opportunity and I have to say I absolutely loved it. Dave McNulty coaches Freya Anderson going in lane 4, the fastest seed in this, the second last heat of the women's 100 metres freestyle. Tane Bruce in 3, Mia Slevin in 2. Second last heat of the women's 100 freestyle, Freya Anderson. The sprinters here have been going pretty quick in the heats. There's maybe they've been a little bit more cagey in the heat, saving themselves for the final, but the sprinters seem to have got up and got at it in the mornings.
I think it's good practice to get into. You know, when you get to those international competitions, you've got to have a strong hit out in the morning just to make it through to the semi-finals or the finals. So I think they'll be looking to have strong heats and just test the water a little bit, that speed that they've been working on. Freya there turning in 26.34, just slightly quicker than Lucy Hope in that first heat, and she's looking really strong. She's really digging in on this final leg. The leg kick's coming in. She's got a nice tempo, nice stroke rate to that final 50.
Well, she really does look strong. That third 25 metres, fantastic. Let's just keep an eye on the time, because this is a really good swim from her. It's a fantastic looking swim. 52.87 is the British record. Surely she can't go close to that. 52.8, maybe 54 low, 54.1. Well, that's a good heat swim from her. Very good. Well, there was no hanging around. That third 25 hit the wall. For such a tall woman, she's great. Very quick over the turn, that spin, and then the underwater and into that first stroke, that explosion into the first stroke. Really impressive.
Yeah, even chatting to Dave, he says that's an area they're really trying to work on, because they felt short course at the ISL that she was maybe a bit slow around the wall. So it's something they've been working on. And again, she just want to have that hit out. She was out there on her own, which is sometimes a bit difficult in those sprint events to really dig in, dig deep and have that standout swim out there on your own.
Well, it was a very good heat swim for Freya Anderson. She'll have a centre lane for the final this evening. One more heat still to go, but I can't see too many swimmers going faster than 54.1 this morning. Tane Bruce second, third Tamarin Van Selm, and Georgia Davis 56.6, just outside of her Welsh record, finishing in 4th. Could still make the final with that, but I'm guessing with a 56.4, 56.5 and a 56.6, it's going to be a little bit tight, that one. And the next heat, well, it must be really difficult to sit here. Everyone in this venue swimming at any time during this week has had to enter the bubble. And enter the bubble means you've got to have a COVID test on the first day, on the Monday or the Tuesday when you arrive. Then you go straight to your hotel, and then you can only be in your hotel room or the pool. You can't go anywhere else. You can't go shopping, you can't go to your car, you can't go on the train, you can't go for a walk. You have to be in your hotel room or walk to the pool. One exception, I suppose, is go down to the cafeteria at the hotel or the restaurant, get a tray, get your food, and then go back to your hotel room.
You may get food. You're allowed to get some food.
Yeah.
And that's from the hotel, though. Not allowed to get food anywhere else.
Well, hopefully they'll be eating healthily. A couple of apples, maybe. Jazz? Come to that in a second. This is heat 3 of the women's 100 metres freestyle. And Anna Hopkin, well, I was talking about you have to enter the bubble on the Monday or the Tuesday in a row. You have to be here at the start of the meet. And Anna Hopkin, I think this is her first event on Saturday. So she's been here all that time, only allowed in her hotel room, walk to the pool or here at the pool. And this is her first race. She's got the 50 tomorrow as well. Tough for the sprinters.
I do think it's tough, and obviously we've got Ben Proud coming up later in the session, and even speaking to the athletes, I have been amazed at how much they've just taken it all on, and it's just become accepting that new normal. They have spent a lot of time in their rooms, and I think for some it's probably been a bit of a hindrance, just being able to see the four walls, whereas for everyone else it's just trying to see that as extra rest, I guess, putting your feet up. But yeah, it can be quite tough. It is a lot different to what you're used to. You can't go out and go and grab a drink, a coffee, or get some food out. You've got to have your head down, and yeah, I think that could be quite tough. You know, sometimes your mind can play tricks on you when you're just in one room for a lot of the day, and especially Anna. We see her now coming up in the race. It'll be interesting to see as we are on day 4 now.
Yeah, there she is with that black coat. Actually, went and trained in the States with Neil Harper, old mucker of mine, British team captain back in the 1988 Olympic Games. Now is the women's coach at Arkansas. Went to the American Collegiate National Championships last year, not this year, went there last year. Swam really well, came second and received her medal for coming second at the NC2As from Simone Manuel, who I think she might be racing against in the final, I hope, in the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
It's pretty impressive. I think that move to America really helped her, but now she's back training with Mel Marshall at the Loughborough National Centre, and hopefully we'll see her in some great form this morning.
Well, I would imagine she's going to try and go pretty quickly here. Set a marker down. Hopkin in the centre for Loughborough National Centre in lane 4. 2 Mount Kelly swimmers up in lanes 1 and 7. Emily Hames and then the 15-year-old Erin Little, 1 lane from the bottom. Katie Goodburn closest to us, and then 15-year-old Erin. But look at this. First 30 metres for Anna Hopkin. She looks really good, really powerful, straight arm stroke.
Yeah, the straight arm stroke is something we've traditionally seen in male athletes in the sprint events, but it's great to see it in the female events now, really working on that strength. She's turned there in 25.91. That's the quickest first 50 split that we've seen over these 3 heats, and she's really driving forward. She looks so strong in the water with that straight arm stroke and really strong leg kick. Again, she's pulling away from the field. Each of the race winners in the first 2 heats have really pulled away from the field, so I think we're going to have a 3-way race tonight, which is going to be great to watch.
Well, she looks really good. Straight arms gives you that maximum amount of water to pull underwater. Great swim from her, 54.13. Wasn't that exactly the same time this was done in the previous heat? It was very close, certainly to Freya Anderson's time. We'll just check that in a second, but a good solid swim. And I love the way that both Freya Anderson and Anna Hopkin, easy speed down to 50 and then hit that wall and that next 25 metres, the explosion up, get the momentum going and then keep on going. Well, she's not the tallest swimmer. Certainly when you stand next to Freya Anderson at 6'3", there is a difference, but super powerful. And Anna Hopkin winning the 3rd heat of the women's 100 free, 54.1, that's good. Emma Russell 2nd, and Hindley 3rd. I think that will get Isabella Hindley through to the final. It's going to be a little bit tight, but I think she'll get through 55.9. Will she? Yes, she is in 6th. Oh, and Georgia Davis just missing out by 9/100ths of a second. But Anna Hopkin goes in equal fastest with Freya Anderson. Look at that. I wonder which lane they're going to give 4 and 5 to. Lucy Hope. Wonder if we'll see a Scottish record for very impressive swimming this morning, Jazz.
Very impressive, and I think Anna and Freya seem to swim the 100 frees very different. Freya likes to come back nice and strong, whereas Anna likes to use that front end speed. As we saw, she went out about 0.3 quicker than Freya this morning to 50. So it'll be interesting to see the tactics tonight. But I think Anna looks very smooth, very comfortable this morning. Well, even Freya too. It'll be a great race to watch tonight, and it's nice to see the women's 100 freestyle come back and quite competitive again.
Well, it certainly is, and we've seen what happens when you start thinking about relays. The men's 4x2 tomorrow night. I have to say, forget what you're doing, anything else tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Make sure you're watching this programme tomorrow night, because the men's 4x2 freestyle relay, we've got some sensational individual 200 freestylers in tomorrow night, and that's going to be a massive scrap. And well, they're doing it on the men's 4x2, the men's 100 metres freestyle last night to get on that relay. Fireworks there.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the best men's 100 metres freestyle that I've ever seen. We saw Jacob Whittle really make his move, coming fourth, I believe he was, to try and qualify for that 4x1 relay. We saw Matt Richards achieve the consideration time in second. And what I'm loving this week is seeing some of the younger swimmers really drive through and make their mark at this meet. Obviously, there's no spectators. They can't have their family here to support them, but they're really swimming out of their skins. And even Brodie Williams yesterday achieving that consideration time in the 400 IM, I had goosebumps. But the relays have really come through with GB. We're seeing swimmers really striving because they know they're in a great chance of the medals on the international stage.
Well, they certainly do, and Great Britain actually qualified the men's 4x100 free relay by making the final at the World Championships 2 years ago. That was one of the qualification, or the qualification rules set by World Swimming Body. So they qualified on that, but British swimming set an even faster standard of 3 minutes 14.17, being the cumulative time of all the individual swimmers in that final, 3:14.1, which is basically averaging about 45 and a halves. And then what happened in the final? Well, our top three were 45 and a half or faster, and the fourth one, Jacob Whittle, was 48.7, the 16-year-old. And so we were actually 0.8 of a second underneath that 3:14.17 cumulative. Really impressive, which means that they can now select extra men for that relay. So Jacob Whittle, I think, certainly stuck himself into a contention for a place at the Olympic Games for the British team, age 16. And look at this, he's now back in the water after that brilliant swim last night. Massive British record, massive lifetime best, I should say. And he's in lane 5, right next to Jack Thorpe. 50 freestyle. No mistakes allowed. Splash and dash. Did you ever do 50?
Not very often. I was never blessed with the sprinter skills, but the 50 was just way too short. I needed 15 more lengths to get into it.
Did you ever dream about being a... Oh, we'll come to that in a second. Being that wonderful sprinter athlete. So, heat 1 of 3 of the men's 50 freestyle. Closest to us is the 16-year-old sensation, Jacob Whittle. Jack Thorpe, the fastest seed in the centre from University of Edinburgh. Jones in 3. Well, when Jacob Whittle swam that brilliant 100 metres freestyle last night, 48.76, he back-halved it. He doesn't have the drop-dead speed necessarily for this 50. He's going well at the moment. Having said that, though, closer to us, it looks like Whittle is leading. Thorpe second, maybe just about in 4, and Jones in 3, but Whittle's going to take it, and his time, 22.40. Oh, my goodness me. Well, that is a new British age group record for the 16-year-olds. It was held by Tom Fannin at 22.48, and he's just gone 22.40. Goodness me. What a meet he's having. 48.76 to be right smack in contention for a place on the Olympic team on that 4x100 free relay from last night, and then comes back the next morning and goes 22.40. Woohoo!
You just love to see it. 16 years old, coming out with no fear and just attacking. That's what you want. Coming into every swim, doing best times, feeling great. It's a joy to watch, you know. And he looked really strong there. He looked, as the 50 went on, he was getting stronger and stronger, which is not often that you see in a 50-metre race, as it's only 1 length long.
It'd be useful if it was 70, wouldn't it? Mind you, it was 100 last night, and I think he may well make the British Olympic team. What a great swim that was. Also good from Jack Thorpe, you know, 22.62 coming second. I think both of them may well get through to the final. That's some good swimming for the heats. We'll keep a record of the times, 22.40 and 22, was it 62 a second, I think, from Thorpe?
That was 22.6, yeah. Again, when you know there's 2 more heats coming up, and all it takes is a few from each heat and you could be in a bad lane. So it's nice to see that he's come out this morning and had a real hit out. And it'd be great to see him line up against Ben Proud, because obviously Ben is one of our more established 50-metre freestylers. We've seen him in a lot of international events recently, and a very strong swimmer, aesthetically very big, very strong, very powerful. So it'd be really great to see him stand up against him tonight.
Well, it certainly will. And in this heat 2 of 3 of the men's 50 freestyle, David Cumberledge of Edinburgh University goes in lane number 4. Lagarde in 5. Was 6th on the 100 metres freestyle last night in a great time, 49.35. Harry Constantine up in lane 2. Well, lanes 2 and 4, average height between them, lanes 2 and 4, 6'7".
6'7". That's incredible, isn't it?
The average height between the two of them, that is.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think even you see it now with swimmers, I think they're built a lot stronger. The gym is like the main part of their training, you know. They lift very heavy in the gym. And I think even swimming is evolving and changing. And even this competition, I've seen a lot of the girls and they look so strong and so physical. So which is great to watch them. I think this past year they've really been able to work hard in the gym, put on a bit of muscle, and you can tell it's paying off. But the 50-metre freestyle is one of those events you will see some really strong men stand up, and again 6'7", that is huge.
Well, it certainly is, and both of them swimming at fantastic centres, fantastic universities. Harry Constantine up in lane 2 from the Loughborough National Centre. And then David Cumberledge will be in lane number 4 for Edinburgh University. And the British University is now starting to recruit international swimmers as well as great British swimmers too. Of course, Chris Hoy is an alumni of Edinburgh University, Kathy Granger as well. They've had some brilliant athletes and still do. Cumberledge, fastest seed in this second heat, the 50 World University Games champion on the 50 metres freestyle, under 22 seconds, 21.97. Great coaching setup they got up there in Edinburgh, led by Chris Jones. Fantastic academics as well. I nearly went to Edinburgh University, so did my daughter actually.
Did you? A beautiful city.
Isn't it? Stunning, really stunning. I absolutely love it. Worked for a Scottish organisation for 15 years and we went up to Edinburgh many, many times. And I have to say, I could live there. It's beautiful. Great university, really good academics and some super swimmers. Cumberledge in 4.
Even seeing Lucy Hope as well in the 200 free, 100 free. Seem to be having a great meet, which is really good to see when you're seeing your teammates swim so well. And also in lane 6, we've got Ross Leslie, also from Edinburgh Uni. So, yeah, it can be great to see them have a hit out this morning.
Second of 3 heats. Second fastest seed coming into this men's 50 freestyle. Cumberledge in 4. 50 metres freestyle, the splash and dash, can't make any mistakes. Really good start in lane number 5 from Yusuke Lagarde. That's right, Duke University in the States was 6th on the 100 metres freestyle last night, and he's going well. The straight arms of Lagarde in lane 5, one lane closer to us from Cumberledge in 4, and it looks like it's going to be Lagarde. Lagarde's got the touch on the 50 there, 22.43, just outside the time that Jacob Whittle won the first heat in, but it looks like 22.4, 22.3s maybe is going to be a relatively centre lane for this evening. Good swim, good solid swim. Yeah, whoa. It's okay. It'll get you into the final. Job done. There's one simple job to do, simple I say, but one job to do this morning. Get through to tonight's finals. Yusuke Lagarde of Wickham District, 22.43. Cumberledge, 22.75. A little bit off his best. Watkins 3rd, Constantine 4th. So it looks like 22 middle, and you'll get a decent lane for the final this evening.
It'd be great to see what Ben's got in store this morning. We've not seen him, you know, traditionally if it was a World Championships we'd see him in the 50 metres butterfly too, and in some events he has swam the 100 freestyle, but he's decided to focus on that 50 free this year. So it'd be great to see him. We've not seen him so far this meet, so we don't know what kind of shape he's in, but you know, in Ben he'll be in great form and ready to race well this morning.
You know, saying what kind of shape he's in, that guy, I have to say, I mean, if you were to make a statue of a human body, it would probably be his. The guy, every time I see him, I look at him and go, flipping heck. See, he's just chiseled every time I see him. There's Lagarde, who just won Heat 2 in 22.42, I think it was, 22.43. But, well, see if you agree with me, Jazz. We'll have a look in a second. Have a close look in a second. I'm sure you will. I will too. He's a solid gentleman. He's a lovely chap. He's really quite quiet. You must have spent long periods of time with him on various different teams. He's a very quiet guy.
Yeah, been on teams with Ben, and yeah, very quiet, but also a lovely guy, you know, great to be on the team with. And he's one of those solid performers, you know, internationally he's raced very well, won a lot of medals for GB and England. So, yeah, he's always a great addition to the team. And I think you want people like that on your team, that positive. We've traditionally seen him at Energy Standard, racing for Energy Standard and training out in Turkey, but I know there's been a lot of disruption this year, which has made it quite difficult for some of those swimmers that have trained overseas and with all the restrictions that have been in place.
Well, it certainly has, but Ben Proud is an absolute superstar in this 50 metres freestyle. He was actually the world's bronze medalist back in 2017 on the 50 free. He is the British and English record holder and Commonwealth record holder, of course. Double Commonwealth champion, world champion on the 50 fly. Still remember watching that 50 fly. He doesn't breathe on the 50 fly. He breathed once and his coach went nuts. He said, we don't practice breathing. How can you not practice breathing on 50 fly? But it works because he's the world champion on it. Just amazing.
Well, when I heard an interview for him, he said it's only 20 odd seconds, 21 seconds not breathing, which when you put it down, it doesn't sound that bad. And I guess it's something that he just practices every day, getting his head down. And I guess sometimes breathing, lifting your head up can be like putting on the brakes. So that 50 is really about getting your head down and getting your hand on the wall as quick as you can.
Well, certainly on butterfly, lifting your head, it's a bit of a speed bump, I always used to think. But the other side of that is air is free, and it certainly helps you in terms of not getting into oxygen debt. There he is. So, just giving those massive thighs a bit of a wake-up call.
It's been great because we've seen Ben train at Energy Standard with James Gibson, and his teammate was Florent Manadou, who we did see win gold in the 50-metre freestyle at the London 2012 Olympics. And so I think it would have been great for Ben, standing up against what was the Olympic champion and racing every day. When your teammates are Olympic champions and when they're driving you to be better every single day, that must play a part in your training to bring the best out of you. So great to see what Ben's got in store today, looking very focused, looking very relaxed as he always does, but looking forward to seeing what he can come out with this morning.
Well, there he is on the right-hand side of those two. There's the pink suit in lane number 5 of Scott McClay. On the right-hand side, there he is, Ben Proud. Got a great big lump of marble, get your chisel out. Have some fun with that, can you? The final heat. Men's 50 metres freestyle. Fastest seed, Ben Proud in 4, McClay in 5, Godby in 6, Irvin in 3. Very good start. Look at the underwater. Look at that. Fantastic from Ben Proud. It really was. Well, if he'd stopped it just off the start, goodness me, he would have been about 40, 50 centimetres ahead. But this is amazing swim. No breather at all. Head down. Wonderful turnover. Nice, solid, straight arm stroke on the time. 22.40 is the fastest so far. 21.68. Oh, my goodness me. That is underneath the Olympic consideration time in the heats. I don't think we've seen too many of those so far. Adam Peaty did it on the 100 metres breaststroke heat. I think that might be one of the only ones that we've seen. Maybe Kathleen Dawson did it. But goodness me, that was brilliant. 21.68. Second, Scott McClay, 22.62. He won it by nearly a second. Irvin third, 22.7. That's pretty quick too. Wow, Jazz.
I think it just shows when watching Ben how much of a difference those skills can make. Even coming up to 15 metres, from 25 he was already ahead of the field. So that is a very solid time. It looks like he was happy with that, gave a smile after seeing his time. So I think that'll be giving him some great confidence. First swim and under that Olympic consideration time heading into that final tonight. It's going to be great to see what Jacob Whittle can do after obviously coming away with this really strong swim in the 100 metres freestyle and to stand up against Ben Proud tonight. But that was a very impressive heat swim from Ben.
Well, it certainly was. 21.68 is phenomenal. Whittle has, I think, stuck himself in a fantastic place for consideration for the Olympic team by coming 4th on the individual 100 and the relay going underneath the time that was set for a qualification standard by British Swimming. Lagarde in 3rd. He was in the final on the 100. Scott McClay's in there as well. Two 22.62s. And it took a 23 flat pretty much to make it in. Wow. Didn't he look great? Well, we were wondering in what kind of shape he was going to be, having had some really major disruption coming into the meet. His training program in Turkey with James Gibson, as you said, Jazz. I mean, what a training group he's got. Florent Manadou is Olympic champion for men. His girlfriend, Pernilla Bloomer, trains there. She was Olympic champion for women. Sarah Sjostrom, world record holder on the 100 freestyle for women. Ben Proud, Georgia Davis.
Chad Leclos also based there, so there's Chad Leclos. Clo? How'd you say it?
No, I was just saying, I was just being stupid.
Wait, did I say it right?
You certainly did. The bloke who beat Phelps, is that the one? The wonderful South African who did it in this pool in 2012. And his dad, Bert, became an international phenomenon. My beautiful boy. That was
that
brilliant.
your best South African accent you've got?
No, it's my best Bert impression. I tell you what, he's a friend of the BBC, most certainly. Wonderful guy he was, still is. Right, women's 200 backstroke. Well, this has suddenly got enormously interesting in Great Britain because in the 100 metres backstroke, we had some phenomenal swims. Kathleen Dawson nearly broke Gemma Spofford's British record, which was set when she won the World Championships.
What I loved was her reaction after. She still sounded like she was surprised to swim a 58.2, but when you walk around poolside, obviously talking to the coaches, they kind of expect these swims out of the swimmers because they see what they do every day in training, but it was still a shock. And obviously teammates with Cassie, that's only going to help them both, pushing each other on in training. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in store in this 200 backstroke heats this morning and again in that final tonight. The consideration time is 2:8.44, which I think is definitely in both of their reach after seeing the 100 metres.
Well, it certainly is, and Cassie Wild second in that event underneath the consideration standard, so she gives herself a great chance of going to Tokyo. The selection meeting will be on Monday morning, and it's going to be hard to see how the selectors can't choose her pretty quickly. Cassie Wild will be in 5 in this first heat of 2 of women's 200 backstroke, but she's not the fastest seed. Chloe Golding, of City of Manchester, going in lane number 4. It's only 10th on the 100 metres backstroke here, but better on the 200.
Both Cassie and Kathleen had very strong heat swims in the 100, so it'd be interesting to see whether they have the same tactics this morning, whether they will hold a bit back for that final tonight.
Well, the tactics have ranged quite considerably from just make it through, just do enough. Just enough is good enough to make it through to the final for some. But then Adam Peaty, I think, set a wonderful precedent early on. 57.7 for 100 breaststroke in the heat. And then in the final, 57.3, now owns all 20 of the top 20 times in history on 100 breaststroke. Goodness me. This is the 200 back, heat 1 of 2. Cassie Wild in lane 5, Chloe Golding in 4, Charlotte Evans of Loughborough in 3. So 4 lengths of the pool backstroke, and I have to say, in lane number 7 there, Medi Harris went very close indeed to the 15 metres.
Yeah, and Medi had a very strong 100 backstroke. So I think, when you had that first swim, the 100, you've got a lot of speeds. That first 100, it's mainly about making sure it's nice, smooth and controlled. And Cassie's looking very smooth. And as our coach said, her technically she's very good. And she'll be making the most of these underwaters. But everyone I speak to says the 200 back is one of the most painful events. I mean, it's the backstrokers that say it, but I think coming from the legs and a lot of underwater, holding your breath, it's got to be a tough event for these, but making sure it's nice and smooth and controlled on that first 100 is key.
You know what? I used to be a backstroker when I was a kid. And I went to the European Junior Championships and got 3rd on the 200 backstroke.
Wow.
There you go, you didn't know that, did you?
Fun fact of the day.
Fun fact of the day. Yeah. Was it gold? No, I'm not interested. You looked at me when I said bronze, you're like, oh yeah, all right, whatever.
Well, European Juniors, I came away with a bronze medal in the 4x200 metres freestyle relay, but I think I was the slowest, or I wasn't one of the quickest ones. So there's nothing wrong with not being a strong junior. You can make up for it in other ways when you get to the senior level.
Well, the point of my slight brag, which I do apologise for, was that you're absolutely right. The interesting challenge on backstroke is when your legs get tired, they start sinking a little bit. And then, of course, a nice flat body is legs up relatively on the surface. You can see beautifully in the centre there in lane number 5, Cassie Wild, just making the water boil with her legs. But when the legs get tired, they start sinking a little bit. And then, of course, your body position is no longer flat. You start swimming a little bit more like a trawler rather than a speedboat. And then, well, it all goes horribly wrong. So you must make sure that you can keep your legs going.
Cassie has a very low stroke rate. It kind of looks like I would be looking like when I swim down, how slow my arms go around, but it's just technically she's so strong and so powerful that her rate is low and she can really drive through that stroke, and she's making it look very comfortable this morning.
Well, it looks almost pedestrian and wonderful to see. It's great to see fantastic swimmers at the top of their game. They just make it look so easy. And Cassie Wild there, 2:13.3. Two and a bit seconds outside of her lifetime best. I think her tactic there, practice a couple of the elements of the race for this evening. Certainly her start was very good indeed, but looked like she maybe eased off a little bit down that last 50.
Yeah, it looked very smooth, very comfortable, and I guess that's what you want from a heat swim. You want to save, make sure you've got enough energy for that final tonight.
Well, there's only 2 heats, so it looks like if you go a 2:14, you've got a great chance of getting in. If you go 2:13, all the swimmers in the second heat. Now, no, 2:13 will probably get you in the final. 2:14 give you a decent chance. But there's some quick swimmers in the second heat, particularly the fastest seed, Kathleen Dawson of University of Stirling. And teammates with Cassie Wilde. Some of the swims that these clubs at the moment are producing are just phenomenal. Steve Tigg's team up there at University of Stirling. It is amazing how they sort of, there's little clusters, isn't there? The backstrokers women seem to be at Stirling. There's Molly Renshaw and Abby Wood in that wonderful team at Loughborough with Dave Hemmings.
Yeah, I think that's what's great, even talking to the swimmers on deck and hearing how much confidence you get from seeing your teammates swim well. And especially we've seen it with Loughborough National Centre, we've seen it with Stirling. They seem to really be having a really strong meet. And it says it all really, I think, when I was talking to Duncan last night, and he wasn't actually happy and satisfied to come away with equaling his British record and his best time. He wanted more, and I think that's where you see where swimming's come along massively. It's not just about, I guess, doing a best time at British record, equaling it. They want more. They want medals. They want to be competing against the best in the world and coming out on top. So it's actually a joy to talk to and a joy to watch, actually.
Well, speaking of a joy to watch this backstroke from Kathleen Dawson. Cassie Wilde certainly got an absolutely beautiful stroke from a technical perspective, really long and efficient and very smooth. Dawson is very nearly there in terms of technical beauty, but speed, 58.2 on that 100 backstroke to win the British Swimming Selection Trial on the 100 backstroke. And, well, surely firmly book her place for the aeroplane to the Tokyo Olympic Games.
I think sometimes with athletes, it's kind of like that coin drop where you feel like all the training's going well and you're confident in everything you're doing. And I think that's exactly what you want here. Heading into the Olympic year, you want to feel confident that everything you're doing in training is working well. You know what works best for your body, nutritionally, with the physios, with the gym training. You want everything to be on form. So I think it's a great moment. It's great to watch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she's got in store for this 200 backstroke. She's obviously got that front end speed of 58.2, so it'd be interesting to see what she can go out in and try and make it as comfortable as possible.
Well, there she is, just going right in the centre there. Kathleen Dawson. It'd be very interesting to see if she decides to do this 200 backstroke at the Olympics. The Olympic programme, of course, much different. This meet here set up for very fast swimming. Very fast swimming indeed. There's just a heat and a final, and that's it. You've got, 8 or 9 hours between the two. But the Olympic Games, the programme is very different.
Yeah, this week we've only seen a 5-day programme, and traditionally Olympics, World Championships, kind of that 8-day programme. You will have heats, semi-finals and finals. So it can be a big programme, especially with Kathleen. She'll be in the shout for some relays as well, women's medley and also maybe the mixed medley. I don't know how they're going to place it, but she's put herself in a great chance heading into this year. And you obviously want to be on that team when you know you've got Adam Peaty, world's best on the breaststroke. You've got obviously, well, I wouldn't even want to call what they're going to put on each stroke. Who, where, when.
What? Well, it is going to be a very interesting selection. There are going to be some interesting decisions to make as well by the athletes. Will Kathleen Dawson do the 200 backstroke? I think maybe the next 2.25 minutes or so, and then certainly what happens this evening will determine whether she does it in Tokyo or not. Not only for making the team, but even if she does, whether she decides to do it or not when she gets there. So the second heat of 2 of the women's 200 backstroke. Dawson right in the centre. Oh, coming up at just 14.5 metres. Lovely start. And, well, I really like her stroke. I think it's really good. It is long and efficient and slow again. A little bit bouncy, I suppose, if you wanted to get super technical, but the speed that she generates with every single pour is wonderful.
Yeah, it's great to see in these backstrokers. Obviously, we've seen her go 58.2, a lot of power. She really increased that tempo, increased that stroke rate of her arms. So on this backstroke, it'll be trying to make it as smooth and comfortable, but she's already pushing away from the field and we're already on the first 50, but I'm not surprised as we saw so much speed in that 100 metres earlier on in the week. So Yeah, she looks very smooth, very comfortable, and I think that's what you're after for the heats, just making it through to the final so then she can hopefully post a great time this evening.
Well, I certainly can. And I was talking about the programme, so maybe an example of that might be Molly Renshaw. Brilliant on the 200 breaststroke, also very, very good on the 100. Could possibly make the team on both. But if she did that, she's much better on the 200 and actually has a great chance of, I think, a medal in Tokyo. But if she does that, if she does the 100 and the 200, there's 6 consecutive days. The heats, semis and finals of the 100 breaststroke would be days 1, 2 and 3 for her programme. And then 4, 5 and 6 would be the 200 breaststroke. So her biggest race would be her 6th day consecutively of racing. Can she deliver a 200 breaststroke to the best of her ability after 6 straight days of racing? So I think British Swimming, and certainly her and her coach will have to look at that and just decide it might be best for her or it might be best that she doesn't do it.
Well, surely they'd be on 2 days. The heats, the semis on one day, the final the day after, so it'd be the 2 days.
Traditionally, yes, but because of the way they're doing it in Tokyo, where they got the heats in the evening and then the next lunchtime of the semis and then the next day of the finals. So it's all for American television. I'll tell you what, money talks.
God, yeah, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, you see.
Bringing me the facts on my Saturday morning.
Oh, I tell you what. Well, Kathleen Dawson's 200 backstroke looking pretty good. 2:12.09 for a heat swim. That is very good indeed. Solid. I think she can go considerably faster this evening. But I think she's certainly done the job there. She'll have a centre lane in the final. Hani Osrin coming in second.
I think what's great to see is a lot of these athletes that have raced on the ISL, they had weeks back-to-back of racing, which has really sharpened them up and given them some race exposure, racing against the best in the world earlier on in the season. So obviously you can see that it's helping with some of the swimmers here. But again, I think that looked very smooth, very comfortable, and she'd have seen the heat before, going fairly smooth, fairly comfortable, knowing that she can make it through to the final pretty easy this morning.
Well, Dawson winning the second heats of the women's 200 backstroke, 2:12.09. Hani Osrin second, 2:13, 2:14 for Jennifer King, and another 2:14 from Rachel Saunders. I think all 4 of those women will make it through to the final.
And Kathleen's Scottish record is 2:09.44, so it'll be interesting whether she can get close to that or hit that this evening.
So 2.5 seconds outside of her Scottish record to qualify fastest, Kathleen Dawson. Hani Osrin second, Wild third, and it took a 2:14.78 to make it through. Rachel Saunders qualifying in 8th fastest. Cassie Wild will be right next to her teammate Kathleen Dawson. So it's going to be another really interesting final. I think that's going to be quite considerably faster.
I think it is. I think as you get into the competitions, you know, some people do feel a bit of tiredness, and as I said one of the other days, that British Swimming's policy is treat every day like it's day one with the same energy, and not bringing tiredness from the previous days. But you know, it does affect some of the heats when you know you don't have to swim an incredible time just to make the final. But I think that's going to be a great final to watch tonight, and it'll be interesting to see whether she can get close to that consideration time of 2:08.44, I believe. So it's going to have to be a best time, but I think it's definitely within her reach after seeing a 58.2 previously in the week.
She was a 60-point backstroker not so long ago. Now she's 58.2, almost 2 seconds on 100. Surely the 200 is just going to... I won't get ahead of myself. You're looking at me like, yeah, go on then, you try and do it. And you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. It's easy to sit here and talk about it, isn't it? Well, the next race up is a proper race, men's 100 fly.
A proper race? Watch what you're saying.
That's for real, men. No, 100 fly. And we've got James Guy going in the second of 2 heats in this men's 100 fly. But there's a couple of guys here that I think have got very, very good shots of making the team. The qualification standard, 51.96. Well, certainly James Guy capable of that. His lifetime best, 50.67. He set back in 2017 when he won a bronze at the World Championships on the individual 100 fly. The world record, 49.5 for a 100 fly. You know what's really interesting? Michael Phelps, utterly brilliant, held numerous, I was going to say umpteen and got it all numerous world records. He's only got one left.
It's crazy, isn't it, really? How quickly swimming can move on, and those records are there to be broken, and everyone's chasing them. So, yeah, greatest Olympic male athlete of all time, and it'd be interesting to see these records, whether they'll be going this year in Tokyo.
Which one's left, Jazz?
The 400 IM is still left, I believe.
Yes, good spot. Yes, good spot. No flies on you. So, first heat of 2 of the men's 100 fly. Jacob Peters of Bath goes in lane 4. McLean 5. Good burn of the Loughborough National Centre in 3. Loughborough University, Robert Newell in 2. Loughborough University, I'll talk about them maybe in a bit, but they've got a really interesting programme of recruiting for their master's degree programme. Recruiting really good international senior swimmers. And they've got some absolute crackers with the idea of putting them into the programme as great role models for the swimmers. And I think it's a super idea. We'll get to that in a second, but here we go. There is the light green suit. Goodness me, he's ready to go. Come on, Jacob. Jacob Peters, the Bath National Centre. Ranked number 2 to James Guy, who's in the second heat coming into this. His lifetime best 52.1. The qualification standard 51.96. So he's just got to drop 2/10 off his best, probably in the final tonight, but let's see if he does it here. Has a crack at it. 2 lengths fly, the first of 2 heats of this men's 100 metres fly, and Jacob Peters, the fastest seed of the Bath National Centre in lane 4.
Just come up at 15 metres, you know, they're trying to make the most of every single centimetre coming up to those 50 metres off the wall. So he started very strong, looking very smooth, very relaxed, breathing every stroke, which you do tend to see now in the men's events, getting ultimate power from the stroke. But he's turning there in 24.32, so a very quick split, heading out in that first 50, and as you can see, great skills off the wall, great underwater fly kick. He's looking very strong heading into this second length.
Well, certainly if he's practicing elements for this evening and for trying to have a crack at that 51.96, he's still practicing, because this is very good. He must be going for it. Let's see what the time is. The target time set by British Swimming is 51.96. It's be a lifetime best for him if he does it. 52.17. Oh, so close. It is a new lifetime best for him by 2 100ths. He needs 2/10 this evening. And for a good morning swim to practice it, that's a really great swim, I think. I think he should take great heart from that. That was a very well executed morning swim. And he'll be next to James Guy tonight. And with that added pressure, get a little bit of adrenaline flying through his body. I think he's going to go well under 52 tonight. That was a good swim. Impressive stuff.
That was very impressive. 52.17, leading out that first heat. Obviously, we've got James Guy coming up, but he will want that centre lane next to James tonight. And to come away with the best time and very close to that Olympic consideration standard of 51.96. He'll be feeling confident, and seeing his teammates from the Bath National Centre, Brodie Williams, Kieran Bird, they've had a great meet so far. So, and Matt Richards also. So, you know, I think, as I said before, having the teammates that are swimming well, it just lifts your confidence. And he looked great and very confident in that 100 fly, and it'll be a great final to watch tonight. But I'm looking forward to seeing James Guy coming up, actually, in that 200 fly, turning in 53.02, which was very quick, but he said it felt so easy and felt so smooth. So I think he could be onto a cracker tonight. Well, maybe this morning too. You never know what could happen.
Well, you certainly don't know what's going to happen. You know, it was the 100 split was utterly ridiculous, as you said, 53 flat on the turn. It's just phenomenal. The 50-metre split was under world record pace. I mean, just look at it and you go, and he looked fantastic. Talk about easy speed. We've talked about easy speed quite a lot, Jazz. Explain easy speed to the punters out there, because it's such an important aspect of swimming, and certainly the juniors have got to get that down pat, haven't they?
Yeah, I think we talk about easy speed a lot in swimming. It's about making it feel as smooth and controlled as you can. I think when you're on the blocks, you have so much adrenaline that first kind of 50, 100, I guess if you're swimming a 200, can feel so smooth, so easy, so relaxed. As James said, it felt so good. 53.0, which is incredibly fast, 100.
Well, he's going in the second heat of the men's 100 fly in lane 4, the fastest seed coming into this meet. He is the class of the field. His lifetime best, 50.7, wow. Ed Mildred will be in 5. Fraser in 3. This is going to be quite an interesting heat. A couple of the guys in the final of the 200 metres butterfly in this final. In lane 6, Thomas Bealey of Plymouth was 5th on the 200 fly. Ed Mildred was 3rd, swam a lifetime best, 158.04. And with a 52.9 lifetime best, well, it's a massive ask, but if you can do a second lifetime best, and we've seen lots of them, even in the men's 100 freestyle final, there were a fair few of them. So Edward Mildred, it's not impossible for him to step up and do 51.9. That's a massive ask. He's in 5. Guy in 4. Fraser in 3. Goodman in 2.
I think that's definitely what we're seeing with some of the younger guys coming through. They've got nothing to lose. They have no fear. They're going out and really attacking it. And I think that's where we've seen some of the best swims or most impressive swims this week is from some of the younger guys which have really stepped up and gone under that Olympic consideration time. And James Guy coming up in this second heat, it'd be great to see what he's got in store. Talking to his coach, David McNulty, he said it's the best training block he's ever had. I think he said he'd missed one session, and that was because he gave it him off. He's had no illness, no injury. He's ready to come here and attack it, which is great to see, and I think that's what you want. He looks in great physical shape, and we saw that in the 200 metres butterfly. He felt good, he felt ready. So I think he could be close to his British record tonight of 50.67. God, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
You should try swimming it.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think if we can see that kind of nice smooth stroke, but obviously that speed as well heading into this 100, I think it's going to look great. And obviously we do also have him in the 200 metres freestyle coming up tomorrow. As you said, it's going to be one of the races to watch tomorrow. So it's going to be a very exciting couple of days for James. So he's got a busy programme. That recovery, resting up is going to be very key heading into these next couple of days.
It certainly will. And James Guy in lane 4. I wonder how he's going to approach this heat. A lot of the big sprinters have gone for it. I would imagine he'll certainly practice the start, maybe up to 50, and then see how he feels, maybe. The second heat of the men's 100 fly. James Guy right in the centre in lane 4. And, well, he looked so smooth and so comfortable going through the 100 metres on that 200 in an amazing time, splitting 53 flat. And he looks really good.
He looks great, and I think what's great to see, he's really going for it this morning. He's really pulling away from that field. Again, he's turned in 24.15, so faster than that first heat this morning. He's really making the most of those underwaters and driving for that second 50. Really strong leg kick. And I love watching James swim. He makes it look so smooth, looks so comfortable, and is technically so good. So he's looking really strong for this morning, heading into those final 15 metres.
Well, let's just keep an eye on his British record, 50.67. This is a very good swim. Edward Mildred also being dragged through to a great time as well. That's good to see. 51.71. Well, that's underneath the consideration time, and that's a really good swim in the heat. A very good, I say solid swim. How do you do a good solid swim in a heat and go 51.7? That's very impressive indeed.
That's very impressive. I do think that British record of 50.67 is going to be up for grabs tonight. He made that look very smooth, very comfortable. It even looked like he kind of eased into those last 5 metres. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing that tonight. And I think what's great is with James, he's shown what a versatile athlete he's been. We've seen him at the World Championships in 2015, winning medals and world champion in the 200 and 400 metres freestyle. So we've really seen him change events. You know, he's been working on the fly, 100, 200 butterfly, but also he's got the 200 free coming up tomorrow too.
Well, he certainly does, and he wins the second heat of the men's 100 metres butterfly. A very good swim, 51.7. And I was talking about Ed Mildred. He's got to knock a full second off his lifetime best if he's going to do the qualification time. Well, he's just done 3/10 of the 10/10. That's a new lifetime best for him. So he's got 7 more to go, and if he can do that tonight, well, he could be on the aeroplane to Tokyo. Wouldn't that be something special? A really good heat swim for Edward Mildred of Northampton in lane 5. So Mildred now going into the final this evening in 3rd fastest. Guy fastest, 51.7. Peters in that first heat, 52.1. Mildred, 52.6. And it's taken a 55.1. Scott McClay's made it into the final. Wow, that's going to be fascinating to see if anyone can get dragged through to that qualification time of 51.9. I say dragged through because I think James Guy's going to win it, do we think? Are we confident about
Well,
that?
he's obviously got that consideration time. He looked great, and he is the fastest going into this final tonight off best time. So I think it would be great. You know, we've seen in some events where people have really pulled each other along. Watching the 400 IM last night, Max Litchfield coming away with consideration time, and Brody chasing him down and also getting that consideration time. And that's what we want to see. We want to see swimmers swimming well, achieving that consideration time for Tokyo, and in good form. So it would be great to see that final tonight. You know, there's a couple of younger ones that really could make their breakthrough and make that consideration time.
Well, there's a couple of guys that have actually been a massive surprise, and I wonder if now a lot of the swimmers are going, well, if he can do it, or if she can do it, you know, maybe I can as well. Kieran Bird on the 400 freestyle. It was a 350. I went 346.00. Wow.
That is still one of my favourite moments, I think, watching that. And I found coming here, I do still ride that roller coaster emotions, you know, with the highs, the lows. It is having those selection trials. You know, there's a lot on the line. Everyone wants to be on that Olympic team. It's what everyone kind of dreams of as a young kid, is going to those Olympics. So you do feel the emotions, and especially seeing Kieran Bird, it was just incredible to see, and how emotional, and how he just couldn't wait to speak to his family. That's what it's all about, you know. The family do a lot of work. The parents driving you early to some early morning training, driving you to various competitions. Obviously, not being able to be here is tough, not having your family there supporting you when they've been there all along the way. But yeah, it's been great to watch so far, and looking forward to this women's 200 IM coming up. Actually, we've got a few heats coming up and some really strong swimmers, which is going to be great to watch.
Well, talking about families and swimming and going to the pool in this first heat, Yvonne Brown of Aberdeen, performance in 3, teammates of Hannah Miley in 4, and Candice Hall going in 5. But talking about families, Hannah Miley, what a great swimming family they have.
A really great swimming family, and I think Hannah is such a great ambassador of the sport. You know, we've seen her come from a lot of years. I was actually on the European Juniors team with her, which is great. She's still swimming. I'm here now with dry hair, not smelling of chlorine, but it's great to see Hannah still here competing after a lot of disruption in her training with injuries and things. So it's nice to see her here and racing on those blocks.
Well, I'm hoping she's going to be careful here, because she's only just coming back from shoulder surgery. Swam a 400 medley the other day. Did well. Came 3rd. Well off her lifetime best on that, but it was the first step back on the road to recovery, and she's still got quite a long time to qualify if she wants to keep on having a crack, which I'm sure she will. There's plenty of races that she can go for still. If she gets selected for the European Championships in Budapest, then she can go there and have a go. There's a European Grand Prix circuit she can go right in the centre there in that red suit. And then, of course, there's the final selection meet up in Glasgow, which is going to be much closer to home for her. Miley turning in 2nd, but a really quick first 50 metres for Candice Hall.
Candice Hall has looked great this competition. We've seen her in the 200 metres freestyle. She had a great swim, and she's one of those ones that I was talking about that has really benefited from ISL racing internationally against some of these best swimmers, and she looks like it's really paying off here. She's really made that move, and she's obviously wanted to come away with a nice, strong time this evening. Lay her mark down, because there are 2 more heats coming up. She'll want to be in those centre lanes to be eyeballing the rest of the swimmers tonight.
Well, she started really well, Candice Hall, Loughborough University student. First to turn by, what, maybe about 2 or 3 metres, 102.38 for a 50 fly and 50 back. That's a lovely start for her. And she's got a good solid breaststroke as well.
She's got a great breaststroke, and as I said, she had a very strong 200 metres freestyle, so she'll know that those back-end strokes are very strong for her, so she'll be looking to really maximise her strengths coming back. But she's making that breaststroke look very smooth, very controlled, and really driving forward. That's what you want to see, really driving that chest forward, hips coming up nice and high. So it's great to watch, actually. I love watching breaststroke. I think it's one of my favourite strokes to watch, to be honest.
I've learned to love it, I have to say. I was so rubbish at it, it was unbelievable. I actually had a stroke coach me for a week, one-on-one at Arizona State. Lovely guy, David Stacey, absolutely super chap. And at the end of the week, I went slower, and I was so frustrated. He looked at me like, what on earth have I just spent a week doing? Because my fly back and free was British record holder, but my breaststroke was so bad, and I think they were trying to make a medley swim out. I just no, not.
I think that's what keys with the medley, is having a very strong breaststroke. You do see them really work that breaststroke, and it seems to make the difference on a 200 IM. But Candice coming in here of 2:14.56. Strong heat swim this morning. She's entered in a time of 2:15.12. I'm not sure whether that's her best time, but it would be great if that's a PB heading into the morning. And a few seconds off that consideration time. The consideration time is 2:11.10, which seems fairly soft for a 200 IM. In previous years, I've seen that qualifying time being 2:10. We've obviously seen Siobhan Marie O'Connor been representing GB in the 200 IM for years, but we've got 2 strong heats coming up, so that's a very strong swim to start off Heat 1.
Well, it'll certainly do the job of getting her through to the final, Candice Hoare. Hannah Miley, 2:17 on her road back to recovery. And the only thing I'm interested in is just making sure her shoulder's all right, because doing a 400 medley and a 200 medley, goodness me, it's not easy on the shoulder. She's had foot surgery a couple of years ago as well, but she's got a couple of, well, several weeks still to get back, nurse it through, give herself a chance of getting fully fit again, and see whether she can have a crack at that in a month or two's time. I think the final selection, there is Hannah, the British record holder on the 400 medley. What wonderful gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. What a moment that was. Were you there when she touched the wall in the gold medal position on that 400 medley up in Glasgow Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, it's quite hard because I think when you're a swimmer, I guess because a lot of the days you spent around relaxing, recovering for your own finals, so you don't actually take in a lot of the swims that are going on around you. So I was competing there in the 400 and 800 metres freestyle. So, and wow, I did the 200 as well, actually. I sometimes forget I swam the 200 freestyle. Not that well, but I do forget sometimes that was my event too. But I guess when you're there, you're focusing, and it's all about making sure you get in the warm-up, the recovery, the swim down, seeing the physios, getting on the massage bed. And I think what's great here, we've actually seen bikes for the first time on poolside. They're using that to stay warm, to keep warmed up, ready for their heats and finals. So it's the first time I've actually seen spin bikes on poolside.
I was just going to say, just to be clear, they're stationary bikes. It's not people. It's not people
Spinning around poolside.
doing laps of the pool on bicycles.
Static bikes.
So, heat 2 of 3 heats of the women's 200 medley, and Katie Matz in 5, Alicia Wilson in 4. Well, this is going to be very interesting indeed. She's training out in University of California, Berkeley, up in San Francisco, and actually went to the American Collegiate National Championships and came 3rd in the NC2As on the 200 medley and on the women's 4x2 free relay, and was the Pac-12 champion, which is the Pacific 12, the top, the big 12 universities on the Pacific coast of the USA, spanning Oregon, Washington State, Arizona, and California. And she won. I mean, that's a hotbed of swimming. Stanford University there, where Katie Ledecky and Simone Manuel are. To go there into the Americans' backyard and win the Pac-12, that's amazing. So she goes in 4. Katie Matz in 5, world junior bronze medalist on the 100 metres breaststroke. Some quick swimmers in here. Freya Colbert up in 3. Won a silver medal at the Junior European Championships in 2019. You're saying you didn't do 200 freestyle well. Didn't I read that you won a gold medal on a 4x2 free relay juniors, maybe?
We got bronze at juniors. I qualified for a relay, and I do forget a lot. Obviously, I was a part of the World Championship 4x200 metre freestyle relay with Becky and Caitlin, where we came away with the bronze. So
just the World Championship bronze. I wasn't very good.
I didn't race it too much internationally, individually. It was mainly the relays. I used to love a relay.
I don't do bronze.
Relays were my favourite.
It's a brown colour. I don't do brown.
No taken away from any medals, but I forget sometimes. It's mainly relays that I used to compete in the 200 freestyle, not so much individually, but yeah. Yeah. So this is heat 2. Alicia has actually been one of my ones to watch this week. I think she could be in for a great swim. She's posted some really fast times in America, so it'll be great to see her long course and racing here to see what she can produce this morning.
It really will. She's in lane 4. Freya Colbert in 3. Katie Matz in 5. Paula Adams in 6, and then closest to us, Imogen Lambert, the 16-year-old from Mount Kelly, coached by Emma Collins. One of Great Britain's fabulous crop of female coaches now coming through, and coming through massively. Mel Marshall, of course, Adam Peaty's coach, considered one of Britain's best sports coaches, not just in swimming. Fantastic. Emma Collins leading that Mount Kelly team. Lisa Bates, of course, one of the British coaches for the Tokyo swimming team. So Alicia Wilson, over first, Katie Matt second. And you were talking about swimming fast in America. Theirs is a 25-yard pool, so it's only 200 yards. This is 200 meters. It's a full 20 odd meters different. It's quite a bit different, isn't it?
It is different, but I think it really makes you work on those skills. You've got to be quick around the walls, you've got to be fast around those turns. And Alicia actually came back when the coronavirus happened last year. She had to come back, and she actually trained in the return to training programme at Bath with the National Centre with David McNulty. And he said she was a joy to work with. He loved working with her and said she's a real talent, and he was looking forward to watching her. She's turned in 1:01.68, which is a very swift first 100 for the morning. So we could be very close to this 2:11.10 Olympic consideration time in the heats. Obviously, we want to see that in the final. That's when it counts. But she looks great. She looks like she's actually wanting to have a really strong swim this morning. And you know, when you've been waiting around, this is her main event. She's been waiting around for it all week. And so she'll be wanting to post that good, strong time this morning, feeling good, testing the waters to see what she can do tonight.
Well, Katie Matt's catching her up a little bit on this breaststroke, one lane closer to us from that leader, Alicia Wilson. But Wilson on the University of California, Berkeley women's 4x200 meters freestyle relay at the American Nationals that got third. So she's a great freestyler, a really good backstroker as well, and a fabulous medley swimmer. And this is really good, Jazz. I'm thinking the 2:11 is going to be pretty close, 2:11.1.
It's going to be very close. It looks like she's starting to ease off slightly, you know, when you've got quite a few metres, maybe 5-6 metres ahead of the next person. You know it's nice and smooth and controlled, and you know tonight where it counts. We've got Abby Wood coming up in the next heat, so she'll have a great lane heading into that final tonight.
Was that about a 12 or 13, something like that? 2:13.01. So just 2 seconds outside of the consideration standard. And she looked like she really went for it down that first 100 metres. And I wonder if she can make that consideration time this evening. Impressive performance for her, winning the first, well, actually the second of 3 heats of this women's 200 medley, Alicia Wilson. So Alicia Wilson winning it, 2:13.0. She'll get a good lane for the final this evening. Katie Matt second, Freya Colbert third, 2:18.8. So it looks like sort of 2:17s, 2:18s is the target. I think both of those swimmers will get through to the final. They should do. But with a big heat still to come, there's certainly 4 or 5 swimmers can go underneath that in this final heat. Abby Wood, of course, the fastest seed, broke the British record short course at the International Swimming League. International Swimming League was actually a wonderful thing this year, wasn't it? Given the fact that there was all of the lockdown and not very many people allowed to train. They've formed a massive bubble, and goodness me, did some of them really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think for the likes of Abby Wood and a lot of the swimmers, they really made the most of the racing. And obviously they were away, they were in a bubble, very secure COVID bubble, with the same kind of procedures that we've got here, masks, social distancing and things like that. But it was great to watch, you know. I think we needed to watch some racing and to have some kind of hope that things would get back to normal. So it's really benefited some of those swimmers, you know, getting that exposure on the world stage to race against some of the world's best. Although it was obviously short course, I think it really helped them heading into the long course season. From what I've spoke to the swimmers' coaches, really found it a real positive thing.
And one of those who benefited massively was Abby Wood. I mean, she just seemed to get so much confidence out of it. But there were a few things that really seemed to be new to a lot of these swimmers. In Britain, often when you go to the big meets, you swim 1 race or maybe 2, but they were just going bang, bang, bang all the time. And one of those who just swam so often and so well was Abby Wood. You know her quite well, don't you?
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of work with Abby and David Hemmings, and I think she's really had that breakout year this year. She's really kind of come out and posting world-class times that could be challenging for medals this year. So it's been great to see, and I think it's about getting her to learn and have exposure to various different situations, and I guess speed tracking or fast tracking her onto that world stage, as she doesn't have much of that world exposure yet. But heading into this year, her rankings, she's looking great, and I think she's definitely going to be one to watch tonight. That 200 IM, we've seen her have a very strong 200 metres breaststroke against Molly Renshaw, just coming closely behind in a 2:21, and a very strong 200 freestyle too. So it's going to look great for that 200 IM tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I certainly am as well, but she's got one job to do quite simply this morning, is just make sure that she gets through to the final, and I think she will certainly do that fairly comfortably, and let's hope that she brings through with her many of the swimmers in this third heat, and there's some good ones. Katie Shanahan in lane 5 right next to her. City of Glasgow was a bronze medalist in the 400 medley at the Junior Europeans 2 years ago. Lily Booker up in 3. Second on the 400 medley here. Had a great breaststroke leg on that, she really did. Isabel Goodwin in 6. 7th on the 400 medley. But Abby Wood, well, what a breaststroke leg she had, or what a breaststroke race she had, that individual 200 metres breaststroke. And that was just phenomenal. 2:21?
Yeah, and she talks, she's just a racer. She loves racing, and for her, obviously, it was Molly's kind of main event, 200 breaststroke, and she just wanted to kind of stay tight and managed to get into that consideration time too. So I think heading into this 200 IM, Abby should be a bit more relaxed. She's obviously got that consideration time, and she can actually really enjoy this racing and see what time she can go. But she's definitely capable of achieving that consideration standard and dipping well under it tonight.
Final heat of the women's 200 medley. Lily Booker in 3 of Millfield, Abby Wood of Loughborough National Centre in 4, Katie Shanahan of City of Glasgow in 5, the fastest 3. And the bright pink suit of Katie Shanahan of the City of Glasgow in lane 5, but 1 lane up from her is Abby Wood. Had a phenomenal 200 metres breaststroke. Had, probably fair to say, not quite as good as she would like to have had on her first race, the 200 metres freestyle, where I think she felt she probably could have done the consideration time and just missed it, but then bounced back like a Super Ball.
I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to learn from, it doesn't matter what that first swim can be. It doesn't mean that that's going to mean the rest of your competition is not, you're not going to be happy with. You bounce back, you come back, and she started really strong, 27.99. And I think when you watch Abby, technically, she's so great. Even watching her 200 breaststroke, the starts, the turns, she really makes the most of every single turn, every single wall, and how much of a difference it can make. And we've seen her on the junior rankings. She really came through as a junior, but it's great to see her now, a few years later, really breaking through in the senior athletes. And she's having an incredible year so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this year's got in store for her.
Well, she's first to turn at the halfway mark in this final heat of the women's 200 metres individual medley. Going with her is Katie Shanahan, and it's a good first 100 for her, 62.95. But Abby Wood, a supreme breaststroker. What a great 200 breaststroke she swam. Came second, but destroyed the qualification standard. And 2:21, I think it put her 5th fastest in the world. I'll have to check that, but I think it was 5th fastest in the world this year. A really wonderful swim. And she's looking really good here with 50 metres to go on this turn. She's not the tallest athlete by any stretch, but she's utterly brilliant underwater. Look at that, a wonderful underwater. And look at this freestyle. Well, this could be quite quick.
I think she could get under that Olympic consideration time tonight. You know, she's having a really strong swim. She's got a great freestyle. She could be under that consideration time today. Sorry, in this heat. Sorry, not tonight.
Could do it now.
All my days are going into one. I think she is going to be well inside that. It depends if she's off, but she's looking nice and strong. And I think that'll build her confidence ready for tonight, that the consideration time is in her reach and she'll be ready to...
2:11.20, the consideration time 2:11.10, so she's 1/10 of a second outside of the consideration time in that heat. I'm sure she'll do it this evening in the final, but a pretty impressive swim. She has gone a little bit quicker recently at a couple of time trials, one up in Manchester, entered on a 2:09.3, but I'm sure just practicing elements of her race for this evening's final. And Abby Wood in lane 4 will go into the final as the fastest seed. 2:11.2 in a heat, that's good. Shanahan's second. Third, Lily Booker. Well, she was second on the 400 medley, Lily Booker, and I think she should be in the final with that 2:18. Maybe with an outside lane, we'll have to see in a second. Abby Wood most certainly will be. She'll be in lane 4, fastest qualifier. Shanahan will be in, and then Booker's going to be close. Ooh, 7th. She has made it in. Actually, comfortably in then, didn't she? So Abby Wood going in fastest seed into that final women's 200 medley this evening. That kicks off at 7 o'clock. The final session. Alicia Wilson looks really good with her 2:13. That could be quite a good race this evening. Candice Hall, Loughborough University third. And the top 8 women coming back again to do it again tonight and have a crack at that consideration time for the British Olympic team at these British swimming selection trials for the Tokyo Olympics. The time they'll be looking for, 2:11.10. And I think a couple of swimmers capable of that. Well, that's been a fantastic morning, a fascinating morning, and really enjoyed having a good old chat with double Olympic silver medalist and other things that I've already forgotten, Jess. four gold somewhere, but I can't remember where they were. It doesn't do bronze. But this evening's finals starting at 7 o'clock, and we could have some really great swims. That women's 100 metres freestyle, well, that is going to be fascinating to see, particularly Freya Anderson and Anna Hopkin going head-to-head. And then the men's 100 metres freestyle, well, wow, I've got to say, Ben Proud looked sensational. Women's 200 backstroke, I don't think we've seen all of that this morning. Certainly with Kathleen Dawson and Cassie Wilde going head-to-head, but there's others in that as well. Men's 100 fly, can we get a couple of guys under the consideration time? Certainly James Guy looked really good. And then the women's 200 medley, I think we should see fireworks. Jazz, what are you looking forward to most this evening?
I mean, there's a lot of finals that I'm looking forward to seeing this evening. I think it'll be really great to watch that 50-metre freestyle to see what Ben's got. He looked very smooth, very comfortable this morning, as much as you can make a 50 freestyle feel comfortable. I mean, I'd like to say the 200 backstroke, obviously we've seen the girls achieve that consideration time in the 100. It would be great to see them on the long distance event. And the 100 fly, you know, James Guy's looking in great shape, but we've got a couple of guys that are gunning for that consideration time too. So I think we're in for a really great night of finals, and I'm looking forward to being poolside and watching it all firsthand.
And not sitting next to me. Well, join us again at 7 o'clock this evening. There should be some absolute crackers. And again, of course, I'm still looking forward to tomorrow night. I shouldn't say we've got some fabulous swimming this evening, but tomorrow night's men's 200 metres freestyle, for me, I think has been the highlight of the meet, the one that everyone's been looking forward to, of course, as well as seeing how Adam Peaty's going, and goodness me, he's going well. The top 20 fastest times in the world. So we'll see you this evening, 7 o'clock. Set your alarms, make sure that you join us, tell your friends about it. There should be some wonderful swimming, and the British team already has got 20 names that I think should be penciled into that team. The selection meet on Monday, but I think there's 20 swimmers who feel they have done enough so far. 35 can be selected, and I wonder how many we'll have extra this evening. 7 o'clock. See you this evening. Have a great day.